and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Do you have trouble sleeping? Well, it's a huge problem for so many people these days. And I can tell you with my current schedule and responsibilities, it includes me at times as well. Let me tell you what I've found to help me sleep better. Sleep Cream. Sleep Cream is a revolutionary new product made of all natural ingredients and with pure CBD. You simply rub it on sensitive skin areas right before bed. To be honest, was a total skeptic, but after trying it once, I was amazed that it really works. They use all natural CBD combined with the finest essential oils, including lavender. I just rub it on before turning in for the evening, bottom of my feet, inside of my forearms. Those spots seem to work best for me. And within a few minutes, it helps me relax and allows my body to do what it's supposed to do, sleep. Find their amazing product at sleepcream.com. Just try Sleep Cream for a couple nights and see if it works for you as well as it worked for me. If you don't experience better sleep, Sleep Cream will refund your purchase. That's simple. You don't have to return anything. Go to sleepcream.com. That's sleepcreme.com. And for the next few weeks, you can use code November24 at checkout to save $24 off your first order. That's November 24 at checkout, all one word. Are you ready for your best sleep ever? Sleepcreme.com. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. We got some ladies' tea tonight for you, and tonight we're joined by the Daily Caller's Mary Rooke. Welcome back, Mary, and journalist Brittney Hopper. Brittney, thank you again for coming back as well. So, ladies, we got some information recently about the man who hid in the bushes outside of the Trump International Golf course down in West Palm Beach to try and everyone's used the word attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Well, we got a letter apparently that the guy wrote. Now, supposedly he wrote it. You always have to say that stuff, Mary. Supposedly written by the would-be assassin. And here's what the would-be assassin says. This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I don't know how much more clear we can get with that than that. I tried my best and gave it the gumption all the gumption I could muster. It's up to you now to finish the job. And then he puts out an amount of money for someone to complete the job. I've never heard of this, Mary. I've never heard of this. And I first of all, I think it's very clear this guy is a threat and, lock him up forever. But I don't know. I've never seen somebody write a letter like that. It's a little weird and creepy and upsetting to me on a lot of levels. It's obviously my family, my father-in-law. And what did you make of that letter and upon hearing that?
There were a couple things that stood out to me immediately. One, I thought it was shocking that the DOJ allegedly released this letter.
Yeah.
Like almost as if to say, here's the bounty and here's the amount of money that in this economy could change a lot of people's lives.
It's not that much, to be honest with you, in the grand scheme of things. If you're I don't know how much it costs to take out a hit on somebody, but
it's not. But if you think about someone who is desperately trying to pay their bills and desperately trying to keep afloat and they hate Trump enough, it's enough to tip them over the edge, especially if they've been feeding into the media's wild, dangerous rhetoric over Trump. And the other thing that stood out to me is that we waited, a year and a half before they released the trans shooter out of Nashville's manifesto. And yet we're weeks out of the second Trump assassination attempt, and they've released this letter. What were they trying to prove here? What are they trying to stop here? I don't see anything other than this escalating the issue against Trump. And as a mother, and, if this was my dad, I would be just so upset and shocked. I saw Donald Trump Jr. come out and say something like, they're doing it again against my dad. And to hear that type of framing for it just humanizes Trump even more. And it just proves that he's got family there that are looking at this going, what is the DOJ trying to do here other than say that there's a bounty on my dad's head? And if you are willing to accept, this is the amount of money that they're willing to pay for it. And for a desperate person, that seems like a lot.
It's all very confusing. I agree, Mary. I don't know what the point of this was. It's all weird. It's all very weird to me. Brittany, what about you? Were you surprised with, first of all, the fact that it was released and what was in there?
No, I'm not surprised by it at all. I think that they want your father-in-law dead, period.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And at the end of the day, this is still a human being, regardless of how you feel about his political views. And he is a grandfather, a father, and I mean, in my opinion, a really good man, but in others, maybe not so much. But they want him gone. And this is really sad. And it goes beyond being weird, in my opinion. They're almost calling it out for someone else to try and do this. And from now until the elections, I would hire someone to be eating Donald Trump's food before he eats it. That's how crazy it has gotten. Don't tell me whether that is the case or not, but I really truly feel like someone should be trying his food and drinking his Coca-Colas or whatever he drinks prior to eating and drinking, because it is getting so crazy. I don't trust anyone at this point, because that is what a big of a threat as he is to so many people. That's how I take it. He is so threatening. And on one hand, you can say, well, good. So we're really triggering them. But on the other hand, this is just scary. It's frightening.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked by it at all. I'm not surprised. And I think that it's calculated. I think that the other side, from what we've seen, is overly calculated with everything. And I think that this is part of the plan. They want him out. They want him out.
Well, by any means necessary.
When you say that he's a threat, you're right. He's a big threat to the establishment. He's a big threat to the way of things. And I mean, you call it the swamp, whatever you want, Washington, D.C., because everybody has had this nice little setup for a long time, for decades. They all sort of grease each other's wheels and scratch each other's backs, and they can control people to a certain extent. And Donald Trump is the one person they know they cannot control, and they know that he's exposed a lot of the rot that's deep into Washington, D.C., deep into our federal government. He's exposed so much, and I think that they realized we cannot afford to have Donald Trump expose anything else. So you're right, he does pose a huge threat to specifically that group of people. You talk about my brother-in-law, Don, and he posted something 8 days ago, or however 9 days ago now, whenever the second assassination attempt was thwarted. And it resonated with me, because it's something I've had to do too. He said, now I've had to talk to my 5 kids yet again about someone trying to kill their grandfather. And, I've tried to shield my kids because they're young. They're 5 and 7. They don't fully understand that. And they really are, thank God, naive to how dark and demented things truly are right now, and how evil things have become in a lot of respects, in this race for sure, but in the world in general. And so for me, I really felt like I needed, after July 13th, to tell them what happened, because I knew they would see Grandpa at the RNC. I knew that he would have a bandage on his ear, and I knew that they'd have a lot of questions, and they were around a lot of kids, and somebody was going to say something to them at this camp they were going to at the time. And this time I said, you know what, I'm not really going to say anything to them unless they ask questions about it. And we went on Saturday to a rally in my hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina. And my kids loved every second of it. Grandpa brought them up on stage. They both had something to say. My daughter said, "Make America Great Again." My son said, "Vote for Grandpa," even though Grandpa had said, "Tell him, say MAGA." And he was like, no, I'm just going to tell everybody to vote for Grandpa. Obviously, it was cute, but I'll be really honest with you. The whole time there, all I could think about was, wow, I hope nothing happens while we're here, because I have my 2 young children here, and I wanted them to be able to experience an event with Grandpa like that, and to say one day, oh, I was at Grandpa's rally. But it's really sick that this is where we are in the United States of America. It's really sick. And you're right. There is an effort out there to try and kill Donald Trump, to try and kill my father-in-law, the grandfather of my 2 children. It's really out of control. And I do fear that there will be copycats. I do fear that people read that letter and they say, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll give it a shot now, whatever.
And do we still know what happened in Arizona to all of those rally goers that got sick at that rally?
Yeah, their eyes, something happened with their eyes. Yeah.
And so it's like it rips the safety away from not only y'all, but the supporters that go to those rallies too. I'm sure there were several that were sitting there thinking, I'm praying to God that nothing happens here. Like, I want to come out and support Trump, but we can't do it. And then you have Kamala Harris on the debate stage saying, oh, people leave early, and, there's like no vibe there, and, all of those disgusting things that she said, when in the reality, like, they're sitting there going out despite the fact that their lives are at risk every time they go out and support him.
And actually, there were people at the rally in North Carolina who were in Butler. They were in the front row. And I mean, kudos to those people. That was amazing. Truly.
Yeah. The people at Kamala Harris's, a lot of them get paid to be there.
They get bussed in. They get buses.
Yeah. Bussed in. So there's a huge difference between those who are for President Trump versus the other one.
Or you get a performance from Megan Thee Stallion. So either way, whatever. I don't know what to make of any of that. I do know that Joe Biden has been long gone. That is very clear. I mean, this guy 4 years ago when he was running for president was on the way out. And man, is he out. He held what I guess people are saying, Brittney, was his last cabinet meeting of his term, likely. By the way, the one he had prior to this was nearly a year ago. It was in October of 2023. We're in the last week of September. Yeah. So this guy waited an entire year. And I was like, how often is typical for cabinet meetings? So I looked it up. Apparently the cabinet typically will meet weekly or every other week. Now, sometimes the president is there, sometimes he's not. I can tell you Donald Trump was having far more than one cabinet meeting a year. But at the cabinet meeting, Brittney, one would think if this was the last hurrah, this is your last one as president, man, you're going to go out and you're going to make it a really important, impactful one. You're going to have a lot to say. No. Joe immediately tossed to Dr. Jill, to his wife. This was one of the craziest things. I think people were like, wait, what's going on? The book, by the way, that they hand out, they give you a little like book when you go in these cabinet meetings. On the cover of the booklet was the presidential seal, Joe Biden's name there, and Jill Biden's name, their autograph there underneath it. Really something. And then Jill, Brittney, talked for like double, if not more than double the time of Joe's introduction to her. What is this?
And I saw that he like introduced her as like, take it away, kid.
Yeah. What?
Look,
the whole thing.
It was very right. And then there was a couple of, so sorry. There was a couple.
I love that.
There's a couple of celebrities there as well. Of course, your Hollywood elitists who were there in attendance. And I don't know. My question is this: who's running the country now?
Well, right. What is going on?
What is going on with our the threat of our national security? That we have a possible, God forbid, but World War III happening possibly. Like, who is running the country right now? Right. Is Dr. Jill Biden? Is Kamala Harris? Like, what is going on?
Kamala she couldn't make it to the cabinet meeting either because she's out campaigning. Yeah.
Well, we'll see a lot of that if, God forbid, she gets in the next 4 years. So, I mean, she couldn't make it here. She couldn't make it there. I mean, but going back to this, the whole thing, I mean, it just proves his decline, his cognitive decline that we kept saying, yet the media kept making it sound like we're lying, that this side's making it up. It shows, just like everything else that we keep saying, our points are being proved time and time again. Right. And this is why I question even the American public, because right now what we're seeing with Kamala Harris, it's all smoke and mirrors. She is so far left, people don't even understand that, but she's coming off because she's a puppet, and they have this amazing puppet right now, and so she's just but yeah, he's not fit to even give a 30-minute or 15-minute or even a 5-minute cabinet meeting, and then his wife took over. And I just want to know who's taking over and running the country right now. That's what I want to know.
It's a very, very scary thing, Mary. I think of this all the time. I don't think we've ever been more on the verge of a world war, save for, World War II. We've not been in a place like this in a long time. you have really, really scary things going on out there in the world. And the United States has a hand somehow in all of it.
Oh, yeah.
We have people who've come over our southern border, by the millions since Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took office. A lot of those people coming in probably don't have great intentions for America. We know there have been folks caught on the terror watch list. What about the ones who have not been caught? I'll tell you, I went down to the southern border last week and I saw with my own eyes exactly how it goes. It's a very organized process. They're not even trying to keep people out. Literally, the Border Patrol now is just processing people in. But I'll tell you one thing. If you wanted not to be processed in, meaning you wanted to just thwart that whole system and not go through, the normal way they're taking people in, they bust them then to this location that gets them processed in. They give them, a ticket to wherever they're going. It's absolutely mind-boggling. But there's huge gaping holes in our southern border. They could just walk right over those and not a care in the world. Nobody cares. People are here right now with bad intentions. And who the heck is running this country? Joe Biden also over the weekend was introducing world leaders and got cranky about it. And who's next? The whole thing. Yeah. People must look at us around the world, Mary, and they must be horrified by the United States. And I'll tell you, if I was a person who wanted to cause something bad to happen here in America, now would be the time that I would do it, because I don't know who's in charge of this country.
Right.
We've all seen how quickly life can change. The outcome of a single event can impact our entire nation. Now more than ever, it's crucial to be prepared. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your family with ReadyWise emergency food. With ReadyWise emergency food, you're covered not just for the worst, but for anything life throws your way. Enjoy peace of mind knowing you have delicious, nutritious meals ready when your family needs them. ReadyWise has a huge selection of freeze-dried meals from breakfast to pasta dishes. You can be assured your food will be good to eat when you need it with their 25-year shelf life. ReadyWise is an American company that cares about its fellow citizens, you, and is committed to your safety. Visit ReadyWise.com and use promo code Trump20 at checkout for 20% off any regular priced items. That's ReadyWise.com, promo code Trump20. Once again, MyPillow has been canceled by another box store, so they're passing an incredible offer exclusively to my listeners. The standard MyPillow retails for $49.98, and for a limited time, you can have one for just $14.98. Do not miss out on this amazing deal while supplies last. Order now using promo code TRUMP or call 800-624-3945. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill, and it adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not the only offer MyPillow has. Get a 4-piece towel set for only $25, a brand new mattress topper as low as $69.98, their famous MyPillow bed sheets as low as $25, and so much more. To get all these discounts on MyPillow products, including the standard MyPillow for only $14.98 for a limited time of 10 per order, go to mypillow.com and use promo code TRUMP today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're sitting back and, Representative Matt Gaetz reported the other day that there are as many as 5 assassination crews from foreign entities in the United States looking for Donald Trump.
That's
I mean, we're just looking at a peek behind the curtain of what's really going on. And if their play here is to try and claim that, it's okay that Joe Biden, isn't mentally there, that don't worry, he's got his wife holding his hand throughout all this stuff. And it's going to be the same kind of shenanigans whenever Harris gets into office. So what you're telling me is that the administrative state is the one that runs the country, not the people that are elected and,
right,
have to answer to the voters. That's an even scarier thought because, I was listening to Tucker Carlson this weekend, and he had J.D. Vance on, and they were talking about who is really interested in the American voter and like what is the best, play here. And we've got the Republican Party who has people like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard on our side. And the Democrats are doing this big show. Look at all these Republicans going over to the Democratic side. But there are people like Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney. And I thought Tucker and Vance made such a great point here, because what they were talking about is these are people that do not care about American lives. They are more than happy to play God and play chess with American lives, send our boys over to die in foreign wars, send all of our money over to fund these foreign wars, because they're lobbyists essentially for these military industrial complex that is super, super rich off of it. And then what we end up doing is holding, death ceremonies for our wounded and killed veterans that come back over. My dad is a part of one crew that goes out every year for Memorial Day and helps, put out flags and stuff in our hometown for all of our hometown heroes that have died. And I look at these boys and it's so different now. Whenever I was younger, I was very supportive of these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan because I felt that patriotism that was coming through our country. But now I look at these deaths in such a different way. I mean, we're ending lineages here. We're just ending people's lives for what? So that people can say that they, gained an extra 2 miles of ground. It's really sick. And I think that's the continuation of what's going to happen under Harris. And I don't see, we interviewed Sergeant Tyler Vargas over the weekend, the Daily Carla did, and he talked about how he was wounded at Abbey Gate, and he was one of the last wounded that left Afghanistan. And when Joe Biden came to visit him in the hospital, he knew then that he was cooked, that his brain just wasn't there. He said that he stood over him. And instead of being like, thank you so much for your sacrifice, and, I can't believe this has all happened to him, he just stood there, looked him directly in the face, inches away, and said, what do you want? And he's like, what do I want? I want my life back. And his mother is sitting there going, you better take care of him for the rest of his life. Like, he gave the ultimate sacrifice for you. You better take care of him. And Jill and Joe were there, and they couldn't care less about what happened to him, and they left. And he said that he was so under the influence of pain, of all of these things that had happened to him. He lost his arm, he lost his leg up to his hip. And if he had known, he didn't even know who the president was. Not that he thought it was Trump or Biden. He didn't know at all who the president was. So when they said the president's coming to visit, he said, okay, come on in. If he had known it had been Joe Biden, he would have said, absolutely not, don't come in. Because the sacrifice he made for him obviously meant nothing. And we've seen that over the last 4 years, and it'll be a continuation. If we send troops over to Afghanistan or the Middle East, those people will die in vain. And I think that's the saddest realization as an American that I've had to come to terms with.
If you were getting endorsements from the Cheneys, there was another endorsement Kamala got last week from the IRS union, the union that represents the IRS. That kind of tells you, I think, Brittney, all you need to know. One of the interesting things to me, though, was that the Teamsters union, who for decades now have always endorsed the Democrat candidate, did not endorse anyone. And that speaks volumes. And actually the polling that went along with that, when they actually polled the people of this Teamsters union, Donald Trump blew away Kamala Harris in terms of the support. There is this massive shift happening. The Democrats are starting to lose the people who have been sort of the backbone of this party. They've been their base for so long. Mm-hmm. These people are fleeing. They're running as fast as they can get away from the Democrats. And I don't know what they're doing about it. I don't know what their plan is, other than to keep the southern border wide open. Again, Kamala Harris, still the borders are today. We could still close up that southern border, but it really has to be frightening to the Democrats to look at things like that and see, wow, people are shifting to Trump, and it's because Donald Trump, Mary, that whole thing that Joe Biden said, what do you want? I can only imagine what Donald Trump would have been like in a situation like that. And I've seen him talking to our service members. I've seen him every single event I've ever been to with my father-in-law, starting from the first day he began running for president in 2015, up until Saturday. I was with him, at the rally in Wilmington, North Carolina. He goes out of his way to go say thank you to the police officers, to the law enforcement there, everyone who is there, helping out with the crowd, whatever it is. He goes out of his way to say thank you to these people. He truly is grateful. But Brittney, this must be very frightening for the Democrats to see.
I'm sure it's frightening. I have no doubt it's going to trigger them a bit, but I'm also not surprised by this at all. I mean, you have a potential vice president who wants to put tampons in bathrooms. So I don't think blue collar workers here are aligning themselves, their values and what their beliefs are aligning with what the Democrat Party is today, which is not what it used to be. It's been hijacked by the far left. Let's not forget. And so, yeah, and it should scare the Democrats. It absolutely should. But back to what Mary was saying, let's not forget, ladies, 82 million people voted for Joe Biden, right? I mean, come on. I mean, this whole thing, it's such a scam. It's such I just hope that, you know, given the next however many days, what are we at now until November?
43?
Yep.
43 days. God willing, we just have those swing states and those states that mean the most. People are going to wake up, especially those undecided voters. So,
well, you know, you even had John Fetterman, who is no fan of Donald Trump's, coming out talking, I think it was over the weekend, talking about how people in Pennsylvania, especially after the situation in Butler, have this special connection with Donald Trump. I mean, these are, when you talk about the forgotten men and women of this country, the people who feel like they've been left behind, the people who truly have been hurt so much by this bad economy, by, you know, the electric vehicle mandates, like all the nonsense that the folks who are in charge right now, Kamala and Joe, have thrust upon our country. It's Pennsylvania. And I mean, that's a battleground state like no other. That is the one that determined, everyone remembers 2016, waiting for Pennsylvania to come through. It's the state. And so it was interesting to me to hear Fetterman acknowledge, like, there's something there with Donald Trump and the people of the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I agree with it.
I know he meant it as like a warning sign, but I think it's almost like an endorsement of Trump. Whenever he was talking about how Trump signs have become the state flower of Pennsylvania, I thought that was such a great line. And then you have the Democratic mayor of Hamtramck, Michigan, come out and actually endorse Trump and say you know, he's a great guy and, you know, he's got great principles. And I really think he's the man of the hour here and he's going to do what's right. I think that, I mean, we're talking about Michigan and Pennsylvania. Like, Michigan could not be more important for Kamala Harris, and Pennsylvania could not be more important than Trump. And both of those she's bleeding supporters in.
Yeah. And by the way, when you talk about like the whole state flower comment with the Trump signs, it's interesting to me because, look, it's easy to go pick up, you know, a yard sign, like a campaign office or something. What really stands out to me are the people who on the side of their barns have painted Trump. You know what I mean? Or have made their own signs or signage of some variety. That is an endorsement unlike anything else. And I have never seen somebody do that for Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, for sure. And the difference really, you know, overall, the way we started out this whole show, I think is very interesting. And it's so true. When people take a step back, just step back, take the names out of it and look at the candidates. You have one candidate who people are trying to kill, who has lost, I mean, significant amounts of net worth because of, you know, running for president and serving as president, whose life would be exponentially easier, better, and more people would like this person if this person did not run for president, but is still in it despite indictments, impeachments, mugshot, assassination attempts. You got that person. And then on the other side, you've got a person who literally has made an entire life out of politics, who has failed upward an entire career, who had really no reason to be in the position that this person found herself in, aside from how she looks. And we heard that directly from the current president of the United States, Joe Biden, who was plugged in without a single vote being cast at all by anyone for her to be president. So just take a look at the two. You have a continuation of what we've had for the past 4 years. And I think Tim Walz even said it over the weekend. He said something like, we can't go through another 4 years like this. You're right. We agree with you. But that's what you're getting. You don't have to love everything that Donald Trump says. You don't have to think that he's a great guy, although I can tell you he's one of the greatest people you'll ever hang out with. And my kids and my dogs love him. And that says a lot about somebody. just take a look at them, you know, and I think that's what we're going to have to break down for people over the next 43 days. And I certainly intend to do it. And speaking of pets, before we wrap this up today, who is it? Brittney, you got a dog in there too, right?
Gosh, who gets a new dog before first grade starts?
Oh my God, I love it. What do you have? What are we dealing with in there?
He's totally like I birthed him as well because he like.
Oh my God, look how cute. We're a very dog friendly, pet friendly overall show.
Same.
Dogs, cats, all of it.
Yeah.
Mary, do we have any pets over in your neck of the
We
woods?
have two. We have an English Bulldog and a Yorkshire Terrier.
Oh, see, I love it. There's this study out, if you could call it that. There's this article that talks about how pets maybe and your pet choice could determine for whom you will ultimately vote. We've all heard about the cat ladies, right? Well, it turns out if you are a female cat owner, you are more likely to vote for Kamala Harris, 47 to Trump, 32% of them. If you are a single female cat lady, then you're really into Kamala Harris, 59% of them versus 21% for Donald Trump. By the way, 21%, that's not bad considering. Male dog owners way heavily vote for Trump, majority of them. Female dog owners, sadly, apparently vote for Harris more often than Trump, or that's how they're leaning. Here's the one that got me. I don't have any fish, but I'll tell you, my son is real hot on us getting a fish. Every chance he gets, he's like, can we get fish? Can we get a fish tank? You know, we all know who's going to deal with that. And I got to be really honest with you guys. Over the next 43 days, I just don't have it in me. But Luke, I will get you a fish on November 6th. How about that? If you are a male fish owner, 82% of them are voting Trump. I was sort of shocked by that. Mary, what do you think? Is that surprising for you?
No, it's not. And it's probably the reason why we've held off so long getting our Lucy a cat, which she so desperately wants. But I can't turn her into a single cat lady and have
Not
her
yet.
vote that way. No, not that. No, we're a huge pet household too. And I get the fish comment because we have hamsters. And I feel like every day I'm like, have y'all fed and watered your hamsters today? I cannot have one of those things die on me.
Are your kids actually taking care of these things?
Yes, thank God,
Wow.
honestly.
Mm.
They stay up in their room. But I do say this, though, every once in a while I'll be like, when was the last time you watered and fed your hamsters? And they'll be like this look of terror on their face. And they're like, today. And then I hear like the scurrying upstairs to go.
They gotta
and
get
make
up
sure
and do
it's
it.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what it means. We're a family who loves animals, rescuing animals. We can do whatever.
Yeah.
I am not a cat person, and I'm allergic to cats. So I wonder what that means. But we all know who I'm going to be voting for and how my entire family votes. But still, I wonder what that means if we're just despising cats.
If you're allergic to cats, is that a sign that you are definitely supporting Donald Trump? You know, I got stressed out enough. My son brought home it was butterflies last year from school, and they're in the the chrysalis phase. I learned all this stuff again.
Wow.
I remember learning it in school, and now I'm like relearning it all. But he comes home with these things, and I'm like, what do I do with this? I got to now deal with butterflies. And then we had to wait for them. I had to put the certain amount of water, but only in the right spot. Otherwise, one of them's going to die. There were like 6 of them in there. Then we had to release them. And then he brought home it was like a jar of praying mantises. It was an absolutely not for me. Apparently they're good for the flowers or the flora or something. So we released those way in the backyard, like way back there. So I don't know. Here's what I know. I have 2 dogs who are voting for Donald Trump this election. And we do know that in 2020, there was a cat named Cody Timms who received a mail ballot in the mail. And so you do with that whatever you will. So far, my dogs have not received their mail ballots, but I will let everyone know if they do. Just to wrap it up here today, I do think it's interesting that the fish owners favor Trump, male and female fish owners, as well the reptile owners. So I don't know. I'm not a real reptile person either, but we'll
draw the line.
Yeah, that's where I gotta cut it off somewhere. Well, ladies, thank you, Brittney and Mary, for joining us today for this episode of The Right View. We appreciate you both, as always. And to everybody at home, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. And we'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.